What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
I mean, do you really want to talk about empty calories, yards in prevent defense when the other team knows that you can't stop them? They can run the ball at will if they want to. They can throw it to either receiver if they want to. Sure, we can certainly do that.
I had heard legend of Derek Carr padding trash time stats, but my God, I thought it was just sour grapes from Raiders fans, but like after living through a year of this crap, it is so true, and it is just so unenjoyable to watch. Just play awful for 3.5 quarters, and then, as Jake said, when the defense is just trying to run out the clock, then all of a sudden you end up with 300 yards. Great. Actually, I didn't see his final stat line from last night. What was it?
Last night he threw for 319. Now, so because if you look at it, like if you just box score or watch and you didn't actually watch the game, 27 of 40. 319, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
What? You can be arrested for impersonating a police officer, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's fraud. The SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, needs to investigate Derek Carr for fraud. That is a fraudulent stat line right there. And that's so funny because I didn't even I never even looked at the box score. So that's kind of shocking that he somehow amassed numbers that even looked that nice on paper, because it was. My mind has not changed. I've been in blow it up modes really since about a few weeks ago. I guess that Panthers win actually was the game that drove the final stake in my heart. But the craziest thing, because I've always really tried to hammer the idea of enjoy the journey. Mm-hmm. It's just so boring. It's such a bad product right now. And I just mean in terms of being enjoyable to watch. And in some ways, it's even worse than living through that 5-5 LSU season and stuff, because that had a bit of a nasty car wreck element where sometimes it was so bad that it still maintained some interest, or you pulled off a couple exciting upsets. Yeah. This is just so plodding and disjointed and just feeling.
Yeah, and when you look at the things that they just don't do well, right, they do them incredibly bad. You know what I'm saying? So the things that they don't really do well, it's not like they struggle, they just fall off a cliff. Yeah. But there's also enough good where it kind of you had this middle of the road kind of blob, and they're not bad enough to have a top 5 pick, they're not good enough to make the playoffs, and they're just living in purgatory right now. And you're right, there's not a lot of juice to it when you watch it. And I'm not saying the players aren't giving effort out there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just as a fan, sitting back and watching it, there's no juice there.
Again, it's next to impossible to stay awake during the Saints game this year. If you stayed awake for the entirety of the third quarter, you need to work harder, because it should be impossible. You should not have been able to. God, the end of the first half, too. It's right when they tease you with a little positivity, you just go ahead and rip it back off. I mean, you had the deep touchdown to Shaheed. You come up with the stop. You're driving the ball. Then Olave drops it on 3rd and 5. Not the best pass. Still got to catch that. The 4th and 5 play, classic Derek Carr, happy feet, getting scared, just sailing it to no one, not even close. And then what does Matt Stafford do? And I guess they say comparison is the thief of joy.
Yep.
On a night in which Derek Carr continues to frustrate you, you see a real badass quarterback in Matt Stafford.
He still got it.
He looks great. He definitely still has it.
He's still upper echelon.
Yes, he looks physically, and I haven't watched Rams closely this year. Physically, he looks great.
Yeah.
I know they were kind of hammering that on the broadcast. It could become a bit eye-rolly, but I see why they were hammering it. He's not someone who traditionally has been in this good of shape. And that touchdown
His
throw
distribution
before
of
half,
the ball too. Oh my gosh.
The touchdown throw before half, though, underrated in how good that throw was. I mean, Yadam had Robinson blanketed on that slant, and I know we probably overused this, but Stafford quite literally put it the one place where only Robinson could get it and Yadam couldn't.
It came back in the progression too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a front side progression, and he had to go all the way back to his last read on the back side of it, and was still because, again, he's got elite arm talent. He's able to put that where only his guy can go make a play. Like that was there's times that Derek Carr played good last night, but that shows you how different it is and how far away the Saints are compared to even a guy like Matthew Stafford.
Well, and that also, I mean, to me, that felt like a team in the Rams who's a legitimate playoff team. They had their struggles this season, but if they make the playoffs, they could make noise. They're in a good division, right? The Saints are a playoff team as an extension of being a part of the worst division in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And that was very clear in that game last night, I felt.
And look, this isn't all on Derek Carr. He's a quarterback, so he'll get it. The pass protection from all positions was horrendous last night. It was bad. But the thing that Derek Carr's kind of been known for in his career, when it gets bad like that, then he starts to see ghosts.
Yeah.
When he has good protection, because there was plays he had good protection, and his feet start to betray him.
Yeah.
And he starts to backpedal, get out of the pocket. He starts to float to pressure instead of stepping up away from it. And that got him in trouble last night. And look, I get it. I mean, your offensive front, here's your offensive line pass protection grades. We only get into the run blocking portion of this.
Last night.
35, 27, 30, 44, 32.
What?
Your running backs.
40 was your highest?
44.9.
Oh, my God.
Your running backs, 20.4, 1.8. Your tight ends in pass protection, 22 and 60. So Foster at 60 was by far the best pass protector you had last night. But your offensive line, Andrews Pete at 44.9 was your highest rated pass protector.
Okay, so, and we'll go to break and come back and talk more about it. But to be fair, Jake, even though I don't think this was particularly tough to do, it did play out exactly as we said it would yesterday, right? Too many weapons for a Saints secondary, missing Marshawn Lattimore, a really good quarterback in Matt Stafford who's playing very hot right now, and then a defensive front that would absolutely dominate the Saints offensive line, and then Derek Carr would get happy feet and not be able to overcome. Which, again, not many quarterbacks can overcome bad protection, but Derek Carr is especially poor in that regard. And, I mean, I think all those elements end up being the tail of the tape, if you will.
It's a skill, and we all know this. Obviously, like pocket presence in the NFL, you're going to live in chaos.
Yeah.
It's on defense. Edge rusher is basically quarterback now. Like with the way that they're paying edge rushers and the premium put on edge rushers, and so it's going to be chaotic. Well, how do you live in that chaos? And the best to ever do it are always able to find a way, create a window, and get the pass off. That's never been something he's been able to do.
No.
And he's certainly not going to learn it a decade into the league.
No.
Right? And so for him to succeed, because he is a talented guy, and you can see moments and flashes of talent, for him to succeed, though, he's got to have a really solid offensive line and pass protection. The Saints don't have that this year. We've talked about it. Their guards are both outside of the top 64. So they're not even starter quality right now.
Edward O, Not Supposed Driver, says he wasn't close perfectly. It's not acting anything was good. The run game sucked. Pass pro sucked. DA sucked. We sucked. Yeah. To be fair, I think we're all saying the same thing, which is, and unfortunately, this is not a guy that you want to pay $40 million to. But Derek Carr is not somebody capable of lifting the team up, right? If he has good ingredients to work with, he can cook you a pretty good meal. But he ain't going to pull no Chef Michael Johnson magic out of, he's not going to MacGyver it.
He's not going to see 6 ingredients that don't match and come up with something.
No, like he would do awful on Chopped. But if he had like a recipe and the ingredients, he could cook a delicious meal.
Measuring cups.
Yes, but he ain't gonna be able to just cobble it together. Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.